Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain.
Good morning, ye fabulous, faithless folks. I am back, and I am joined today by the lovely, wonderful, and very brainy AJ from Ways to Human. Hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me again. I always have so much fun here.
Yeah, we made you get up early today.
Yeah, I've been sleeping in lately. I was like, I'm gonna make it next one.
I know I should be sleeping in because oh my fucking god. Folks, I'm trying very hard not to die. It's not going well, but so far we're succeeding. So if you two are surviving, congratulations to you. We're glad you're here.
Well, I'm
And
glad
that
you're
goes
here
double for
today.
our friend Dave over at Captive Desk, who literally got into a fist fight with the Reaper and won. So yeah, yay.
I know he's gonna have such a story to tell when he comes back. When he's ready, healed, and ready to be back on screen.
Oh, he
He
did
needs to
a
rest now.
brief show last night. Well, brief.
Oh, okay. I
He
missed it. I'm
outlasted
gonna check.
me, but still, yeah. He was on, and it was a really touching show in a lot of ways because
Ah,
he was talking about how he had so many people um send him well wishes and whatnot. Even some people that he has like public disputes with on the YouTubes. He's like, you
wow.
may be an asshole, and
Yes.
maybe I'm gonna you, but you're still showing humanity, and we can all appreciate that. And I'm like, yeah, that's fucking cool.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
it'd
think
be
that type of support, even like hearing people telling you that they're thinking about you, it really helps. I know that a lot of people think prayer works. but I think it's more, obviously not like the supernatural part of prayer. It's just like the people are thinking of you. People are telling you that they're thinking of you, that they got your back. Hey, whatever way I can help, let me know. It's like I think that's where the power of prayer is. Which you don't
I
have
tend
to.
to
You don't
agree.
have to pray. Not pray, but you don't have to be religious to think about people to give them that. You know.
Yeah, knowing people care and want you to still be around makes, because I can testify that it works the opposite direction very intensely.
Absolutely.
Back in January, I got attacked. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and literally only 2 people. First of all, I had been getting death threats, right? Like,
Wow.
I mean, you, as a creator on the internet, you always get death threats, but I got like ones that struck me as a bit more serious. And so I took screenshots of those and I forwarded them to some people that I presumed would understand. And I'm like, hey, this is probably nothing, but just in case, I want you all to know, you
Yeah.
know? And nothing. I was out of commission for 3 days. I was in the hospital. And my old phone, it blocked a knife for me. So the poor phone was toast, and I was out of commission for
Wow.
3 days. Like Jesus, I came back.
3
But,
days.
like,
Yeah, that's
only
perfect.
2 people had checked on me. Like, I had been super active in the community every single day,
Wow.
and only 2 people noticed. One was Chris Mallard, and
He's the best.
he's a really, really good dude, he checked on me. The other was Mark Reed, incidentally, um, because we were due
So
to
much
do a
to
show
pray.
that night. Um, but yeah, Chris, recently bugged me checking on another couple people who've gone missing recently, and that's a complicated story for another channel. But he checks on people, and that's really, really touching. But
Yeah.
the reason I mention the whole thing is because, like, knowing people care helps you heal, and feeling like people don't care, it is discouraging. Let's say.
Yeah,
That's not to say
it
I think
causes you
people.
mental stress, and mental stress
Mhm.
causes you physical stress. That's a fact. That's a scientific fact.
Yeah. And that's not to say that I think people don't care. It's just, I don't know. I think it's a matter of how people find out things, because we live in an online space where people come and go, people get busy, have jobs, and so it's not unexpected for people to vanish sometimes for several days at a time.
Yeah,
It's just like, how do people find out, you know? And
that's
that
true.
worries me sometimes. But I did that wasn't the topic, the off-topic topic I meant to start with today, because our off-topic topic is actually somewhat on topic, weirdly enough. At the very beginning of the show, before the credits started rolling, my son was playing, and Lil said, "I want that dress." And what Lil is talking about is, in case you haven't seen my channel trailer lately, is this dress. The one on the left specifically, because that's what I was wearing when I filmed that channel trailer on June 30th. I retook the photo a few days ago because of AJ, coincidentally, because AJ mentioned the trailer, and I was like, "Oh, I've lost a lot of weight since then." And I kind of wonder, like, there were places where it was really tight and other places where it was really loose. I wonder if it fits better now, even though it's only been a couple of months. And AJ was like, "You should try it again." So I did. And yeah, I mean, it's a little tight across the chest, if you know what I mean, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Good news there.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really, really like that dress. It's rainbowy. It's not as it was advertised, but it's still very pretty and colorful, and I enjoy the hell out of it.
I know. I'm like a super colorful person. I love wearing. I used to have like these neon green pants and like blue shoes. Okay, I didn't wear them together. Don't worry. But like I just love so much like really really bright colors. I don't know why. So I love that dress. I think it's awesome. I don't need one.
Yeah. So I'm very poor, as many of you know, but I really like the nice like this is from a thrift shop. It cost me $2.
I
And
shop
I
there a
wore it
lot. No shame.
absolutely. I love it. My very first dress. Like I have my trans dress that I made back in 2020. I made it for myself because there were no good flattering trans designs, right? But like the first dress I bought was from the thrift shop and that cost me like $3. And it has pockets and it's the plain blue one, not the little house on the prairie blue one. I know I did. I have a lot of blue. I like colors, you know. It's
I
just
know. Pockets and dresses are so good. I love that. Because
it's
where else
true.
are you gonna put your stuff?
Yeah, this one doesn't have pockets, unfortunately, but it's okay because I do have a couple of purses now. I have a big old grandma-looking purse with all the pockets, and then I also have, like, a more everyday usable purse that Robin Webster sent me, and
Oh,
even when I
nice.
have pockets, I bring that thing with me because it's my wallet and sunglasses are already in it, so, you know, I just
I
grab the
know.
purse and off we go.
Yeah, if you don't have pockets, purses are must. Like I try to have like different sizes because I have so much like medical stuff that I need to carry around, like my glucose meter and like supplies in case my pump fails or something. So I have like big bags, and then if we're going somewhere that's close to home or that I know I'm not gonna be there for too long, and then I can manage with less supplies, then I have a smaller purse for that. So
Yeah.
earlier, speaking of looks, we were talking about like the way we see ourselves, right? Because sometimes I will look at myself in a dress and be like, oh my God, like my arms look too big, or like,
Mhm.
I don't know, my underarm rolls are sticking out and whatever. And then I'll ask my husband, and he's like, you look amazing. I'm like, are we looking like the same person?
Well, you can't trust spouses, they're biased.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess I should ask somebody else.
Yeah,
Maybe another
I'm
woman.
I haven't been in a serious relationship for a very long time, and it was even longer ago that I was married, but I do remember you cannot trust spouses. They have, like, permanent rose-colored contacts, I guess, because not everyone wears glasses. They're they're not trustworthy, you know? Same thing with
Yeah.
anybody who has the hots for you, right? Like, if you know someone has a crush on you, they do not have an objective opinion. It's lovely if you need compliments or something to boost your confidence, that that's a go-to source, that's fine, but don't trust it to be objectively true. Similarly,
So
you can't trust critics because they're biased against you. Like, people who
yeah.
think, "Oh, you atheists, you're just the worst human beings on earth. You all look like sinful, wicked devils covered in leprosy sores and all this crap." It just the bias gets in the way. You can't trust it.
But that
What
goes
we
to
really
show,
need
there was this study that I mentioned earlier when we were speaking before the show, that were they had people draw someone, right? And they had someone draw themselves. And the drawings look completely different. Obviously, it was people that could draw, all right? Not like 2 year olds that could draw
to
like
get a stick figure.
yeah. And it looked completely different from like different people's perspective. And I think it's what you just said. Like if somebody has a crush on you, they're gonna see you like in a beautiful light, no matter how freaking ugly you look. And if it's somebody that already has a bias against you because they don't like you for whatever reason, then they're more likely to like find your flaws, like all of your flaws. And so they're gonna draw you and see you in that more negative light. And I think that's the reason why we see ourselves in a negative light, is because we are always our own worst critics. And we look at like the tiniest little, oh my God, I have a little pimple right here. It must make my whole face look ugly. you know?
I'm thinking of like certain makeup looks that cosplayers do where they try to look horrifying, and it's still like
Look
a
away.
person can do like, monster alien clown makeup and definitely pull off horrifying, yet still somehow look attractive or not attractive, depending on your preconceptions of the person. It's fascinating.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Like it's all about like perspective and subjectiveness of how you see the person from the inside, I guess. Because if you have a really positive opinion of how good a person is based on their actions first, then you see them and they're not gonna look ugly to you. They're gonna look great. Like so
Mhm.
yeah.
Which touches on our main topic in that we don't see with our eyeballs. They're sensor inputs. We do the seeing with the brain, subject to all the chemistry and assorted goodies that go on there. For example, Fern Lovebond, English is hard, sends a $2 super chat. Thank you, Fern, and says can't stay, but a little dollar for two of my faves. And I appreciate that very much, but that goes to show subjective opinions.
I know Fern was one of my very first like followers that contacted me, that got in touch with me, and love them.
Yep. I see somebody on about Mars for some reason, which I mean, that's great.
Mars.
I love Mars. I love space. It's just nothing to do with what we're talking about today.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all
Maybe
good.
next time.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, so tomorrow, and I should be upfront about this. I was very, very close to postponing today's show because I feel so crappy. But AJ's been talking about looking forward to this, and I've been promoting it, so I'm like, yeah, we'll do our best. I'll take all the medicine. We'll try to do it. I may actually postpone tomorrow's show, and it's
Okay. If we need to cut it short, I'm okay with that. No
yeah,
problem. I'll
it's
understand.
it's scheduled to be the September 11th show, so it'll be mostly politics and how the U.S. is in awful shape,
Oh,
how our
yeah.
rights are degrading, and all that crap. I'm not super looking forward to doing that show in the
Mm.
first place. It's just like it's almost, let's say, a patriotic duty to talk about how things are on that day, but I don't really wanna, and also I don't feel good, and so I also don't really wanna. So
For many reasons.
y'all will have to forgive me if I end up postponing that one or just deleting it entirely because I've already got next week scheduled out as well. We've got a lot of cool aside from that, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Let me run down the list really quick here, and then I will get to the tangent that I actually promised everyone over on Damn Chat. Let's see. Friday, Signs of a Demonic Woman.
Mm.
Saturday, of course, I'll be over at Mark Reed's for the debate review. Sunday, that's Ember in the evening, not Hot Topic, but that's Parallel Universes Proven. And then back here, Hot Topic Monday, malicious meddling in medicine. And that's going to have to do with a lot of the political Project 2025 bullshit that's been going on. Everything from abortion bans to the end of HRT access for everyone of every age period, which is going to affect everyone of every age period, not just trans people.
of
Holy shit.
every of every biological sex and gender.
Uh-huh. Tuesday we bring it back to a lighter tone, kind of, with forbidden sex acts. Wednesday will be is the Bible reliable? Is it a reliable Bible? Which would be hilarious.
I love that.
I moved the member stream to next Wednesday again because I feel like shit right now, and I want to have a good time with the members. They deserve it. They do a lot to support this channel, and I want to enjoy that.
Yeah. You're not giving them the
Thursday,
best. Yeah.
yeah. Transpositions were taking a week off this week, so next Thursday will be sort of a super early in the day lead into transpositions, but not really because we'll be talking about intersex topics. Because
Yay.
intersex isn't the same as trans.
I've
There's a
been
lot of
wanting to
overlap.
have you on my show to talk about that. Because I know
Yeah.
it's separate, but I know that you're very good at that conversation.
It's one of the things that I've been getting spicier and spicier about because people keep mischaracterizing trans people either for or against using intersex people as a prop. And as a person who is both, that's really pissing me off. So I'm like, you know what? And then next Friday, Feminism Friday, is going to be Alan Parr is going to talk to us about how women, good women, have to be more modest.
Good
The man is going to
woman.
tell us about
Gotcha.
modesty. So that'll be fun. So yes, we have
Oh,
a whole bunch of cool shows planned out. I hope you join for those. I hope you're subscribed and do all the fun things. And speaking of fun things, that leads me to the actual tangent topic I meant to start with because it came up on the damn show. Left-Handed Jedi was asking, and I had to go find out about it. What the hell is the hype button on YouTube? And apparently there's a button now. So let's find out together, shall we? This video is from the YouTube creator newsletter, whatever. Any of you who are creators in your YouTube studio, there's a little section that's like news for creators, and it links to videos like these. This is one from 2 weeks ago, but it's the most recent on the topic that I've been able to find. So
okay, that's
yeah,
a new one for me.
yeah. Let's hear about the hype thing.
All
Let's
right.
hype the hype.
We've been talking about the expansion of the ability for viewers to hype at no cost, and we're excited to share that it's coming to 17 additional markets. If you need a refresher, Hype is a way for viewers to come together and help emerging creators in the YouTube Partner Program with fewer than 500,000 subs get discovered.
Okay, so I appreciate that it is targeted to smaller creators, but also the fact they refer to anybody with less than 500,000 subscribers as smaller creators. Wowzers.
Wait, I thought she meant 500 subscribers.
500,000
Oh
subscribers.
shit. Okay, I was like, oh, that's me, less than 500. Okay, never mind.
I mean, it's technically true, but like channels that creators like you and I look at, like, you know, say R and Ra or Jacqueline Glenn with, you know, closer to 1 million or whatever, like those are smaller creators. Like the scale within our community versus
Yeah.
the wider YouTube is fucking ridiculous. Like there's channels out there that are considered small-ish that have over 1 million subscribers. I don't know.
That's
It
crazy.
boggles my mind how different the perspective is in the greater landscape of things. There's Dave. Hail Bigfoot. Praise the Bigfoots.
Dave.
Yeah. Spooky Ben Hair says, I have less than 500,000 subscribers.
I'm gonna check out
Everybody should
Dave's video
subscribe to
that you
Spooky.
mentioned earlier later after the show. I'm gonna check it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
More on hyping.
All right, let's go.
When viewers hype your videos, it shows their excitement for your content and helps your channel get discovered by new audiences. Top hyped videos show up on a leaderboard designed for up-and-coming creators. If you're in a launched market, the option to hype will appear on creators' public, long-form videos uploaded in the last 7 days.
Now that is an important bit. You will not see a hype button on a live stream like this. It's just not shorts, not lives, not past live streams, just the regular original flavor long form videos.
Yeah. And what is long
And
form anyway? Like how long is what is the time?
7 minutes or more.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I mean, technically it's anything that isn't a short, but
Oh, all right. Okay,
Yeah.
mine are usually about 7 to 10 minutes.
So yeah, and that is potentially another good reason to take live streams and make clips, because if you upload a clip, that counts as a regular original flavor video, even though it's harvested from a live stream.
Yeah.
So those are technically hypeable, but they also have to be within the past 7 days. They have to have that little new sticker.
When a viewer hypes a video, YouTube will apply extra points based on the channel's subscriber count to help even the playing field and give smaller creators a fair shot at the spotlight.
So it's a popularity contest among the least popular.
I was gonna say that like the number of subscribers determines like how much they hype it or something like that. Is that what
Yeah,
it's saying?
but I
So I
wonder
have
since
I have 400 subscribers. It will be like, yay. That will be the kind of hype I'm gonna get. Yay.
well, I wonder if because it's based on smaller channels, it's geared towards smaller channels. I wonder if it's inversely proportional. Like the fewer subscribers
Oh,
you have, the more hype you get. I don't know.
I'm
They
crossing my
don't say.
fingers.
I don't know if they know because I mean, there's a lot of shit that with the algorithm that the people who run it don't know. Um, but apparently it has its own feed. And as I understand it, I don't know if she'll say, but as I understand it, it's also a feature that's only available on phones. I know it's on Android phones. I don't know about iPhones because it's two different apps for the two different operating systems. But I haven't seen it on computer. And
Okay.
apparently it goes in its own feed. And so there's like a lot of isolated bits about it.
Yeah.
Hype will be turned on by default with the option to opt out in advanced settings on Studio Desktop. We're also excited to introduce more features this fall, all designed to further empower creators and fans. First, we're launching category leaderboards. Viewers will be able to dive deep.
Okay, so that's going on into other topics, and
Different. Yeah.
hype will be its own category. Like we can see, I'll make the video big again so it's easier for people to see. There's the hype category, but there's also gaming, VTube, fashion and beauty. You know, it's a category like many others. So yeah, that's the skinny on the hype train. We're hyping the hype up in here, and watch me get demonetized for showing in the creator video. But it's for
Oops.
educational purposes. It's
Oh
legit
no.
educational purposes. That's fair use. That's
Right. Yeah. Let's remind them educational.
right.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know. I hadn't checked. I'm gonna have to look on my phone and see if I have an Apple phone, so I'll see if it is the same.
Andrew says that it is there on
Oh,
iPhone. Um,
okay.
she doesn't know how it works. She just presses it whenever she sees it. So hooray.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use it more on my phone because I usually use YouTube on my computer, not as much on my phone.
Jedi says, I brought it up to help the atheist community. And
Love that.
perfectly, appreciate
Yeah,
that because I try to help other creators in our community because holy shit, we need as much help as we can get.
I
But
know.
I didn't even know about this feature. I'm like, what? Where? How many? Mostly because I'm usually when I'm watching on my phone, I'm watching a live stream, so I never see the damn button.
Yeah, same. If I'm watching something on my phone, it's because I'm like cooking and I want to see a live show that's going on. But I used to do it. I used to watch on my iPad before I was a creator myself, but I don't do it anymore. I
Yeah.
just listen on my phone while I'm doing other. I'm sorry. I listen on my computer while I'm doing other stuff on my computer.
Yeah, when I'm at my computer, I'm usually working. I'm either recording or editing or scripting or
Same.
whatever.
Or other stuff. Lots of other
or
stuff.
running a live stream like today, which
Yeah.
brings me to Left-Handed Jedi sending a super chat for $20. Thank you, Jedi.
Ooh, nice.
And Jedi
You
says,
gotta have.
keep Ember alive. Thank you. I'm as much pain as I've been in the last few days. I broadly have been enjoying being alive recently, and so yeah, efforts to keep me above ground, I very much appreciate. So thank you. Despite the pain, I actually am. I'm able to compartmentalize. This is one plus of how trans healthcare saves lives, right? Like, while I had a multi-track mind before, it didn't work very well. Now that my brain is running on the correct mix of chemicals, it's functioning amazingly, and I'm able to completely compartmentalize different perspectives.
Nice.
I'm in immense pain from the ear infection, which is now spread into my jaw, by the way. So talking hurts too. This is fun. But it's completely separate from the being glad to be alive thing. which is not a thing that I experienced before. And so it's really, really helpful when you're experiencing physiological suffering to have an internal wellspring of joy to help keep you going, you know?
I know, right? Because when your mind is on the same level as your pain, that's not good. That's not good. I've been
Yeah.
there, trust me. Like, laid up in bed, I couldn't even move, and I was just like done.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's good to have like support, and like we said earlier, right? Like people thinking about you, offering you anything they can, like donating wherever they can, watching your stream, like supporting your content.
Yeah, and buttons, likes and shares and things. Now those aren't the
Hype.
same as yeah, and I try to categorize those two because there's a very real danger of parasocial relationship type stuff where there's a lot of creators who try to leverage like if you love me, hit the like button kind of thing. And I'm trying to be very, very careful about not crossing that line.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the line is in a different place for every single human being. So it's very hard to walk that tightrope. I'm doing my best though. And that's all we can really do is to be aware that there's a risk and try to avoid that. Because one of the things that really annoys me about our counterparts on the other side of the political spectrum is their willingness to do that kind of thing. Like, if you love Jesus, send me your rent money, all that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so manipulative and I hate it. And so I definitely don't want to do that. But I do very much appreciate, when people
The support, yeah, for sure.
me or support in other ways. I thank you very much.
Yeah, when I was on Skeptic Haven a couple nights ago, there was a caller that asked whether myself and my co-host were grateful for all the suffering that we've been through, like regarding living sort of a high control religion, and I think we both agreed that we were happy with where we are right now, but it doesn't mean we have to be grateful for just such the suffering and the bad parts that we went through to get here. Like you can separate the two. You can be grateful that you're here, grateful to be alive, and not necessarily grateful for like the trauma that you've been through.
Right. And oh, it's such a complex thing because there's a part of the human experience where we're like all the bad shit we've been through helped to get us to where we are now. So it's hard to be grateful for where we're at without an implicit gratitude towards the suffering we went through in order to make us who we are. But the thing of it is that the only way to get to be yourself? Like, I can think of a whole lot of ways I could have be the me I am today, and this isn't even necessarily the best version of myself. It's the best version I've been able to make from the damaged bits of the past. But I could have gotten here with a lot less suffering, you know?
Right, we could be even better if we hadn't had to go through all that shit.
Yeah, it just
Like for
so
me
much oof.
personally, yeah, it's like personally with my struggle with chronic pain, I feel like I lost so many years of my life, like my prime years of my life. uh I When I first had my baby, when they were a toddler, I couldn't even sit on the floor to play with them my my pain was on my leg, and so sitting down on the floor meant that the rest of the day I couldn't do anything else, and I had a lot to do. So I was like, it was a struggle, like all the surgeries and all the uh, addiction to painkillers because I had to be on them for like 10 years, and coming off was like
Oof.
almost ended my life coming off of them. And it's like, you can't say, oh, yeah, I'm so grateful for all that, you know?
Mhm. Like, yeah, it's wonderful. It's a testament to the adaptability, survivability, and healing ability of humans that we can get through times like that. But this whole, oh, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Like, no, it didn't kill me because I'm strong. You
I love
know?
that. I love that.
Like, holy shit, nobody should have to go through that crap.
But
It's Jedi says this is my 20th anniversary of chronic pain. Huzzah.
yay.
Yeah.
Sorry. That
It's
sucks.
for all our medical miracles, you know, like as Dave was talking about on Captive Desk last night, the medical technology we have borders on fucking miraculous. It's sci-fi level tech in the real world today.
My implant.
Exactly. But it only works in very specific instances. Like, we still have situations where people have chronic pain for decades. You know,
Yeah.
one of my best friends, IRL best friends, has had what do they call it? Where the neurons just shoot off pain for no apparent fucking reason. I can't.
Fibromyalgia? Or no?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
she's had fibro for like 25 years, and you know, she understands where medicine is and the state of things and so forth. Like, it's just a diagnosis for insurance reasons. It's like
Yeah.
saying there's pain, but we don't know why there's pain. It doesn't mean there is no reason there's pain. It's just we don't know why there's pain. And that's one of the limits of Equus says,
Sorry.
now I say, what doesn't kill me better run.
It better be fast because I'm gonna run after it.
I feel that. Okay, so real quick, back to January, right? So like my pre-transition life, I got abused by a lot of people. And I was very good at hurting people. So I went out of my way to not hurt people. I would let myself get hurt rather than hurt someone else. And that cost me a lot in a lot of circumstances.
I bet.
But because that was my default setting, is, you know, a person wants to assault me, it's not worth their life, even though they're the one hurting me, right? So it was only when my life was actually in danger that I fought back. I have a slightly different perspective now. If a person comes at me now, they better be into necrophilia, because either I'm going down or they are.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, if I will say that if there's an active threat, then it doesn't necessarily need to get to the point where they're almost beating you to that point. Like, as soon as you see the threat, then you have a right to act on it. You know.
Well, so it's not advisable strategy, but there is a tactical advantage to appearing to surrender, insofar as, first of all, if you fight from the get-go, you're basically guaranteeing you're going to get hurt. Like say a knife fight, for example. You know, the person who came at me in January had a knife. I didn't have one. I did take his knife away from him later. And part of the reason that worked is because he wasn't expecting me to try to defend myself.
Yeah.
Because
Because they see you as weaker.
right. But even if
Yeah.
you get into a knife fight, like, even if you win, you're going to get cut. You have to accept that going into it in the beginning. If you defend yourself from the outset, you are going to get damaged by whatever weapon they happen to be using. And
Even
you
if
know,
it's their hands.
right. And if you can, great, wonderful. But sometimes it may be tactically advantageous to let yourself be put in what they assume is a disadvantaged position, so that they drop their guard a little bit and it becomes easier to take the knife away, for
That makes
example.
sense.
That said, don't treat that as gospel or Bible or whatever, because sometimes they'll like tie you up or something, and then
Yeah.
you can't fight back, you know? So,
Individual situations. Yeah.
right. And oh my goodness, it pisses me off and it sucks so much that we live in a country where we have to discuss self-defense tactics on a live show, because we're not fucking safe.
As well. It's just Yeah, and the fact that people attack a complete stranger or even someone they know. I don't know if the person that attacked you was a stranger or someone you knew, but either way, that they attack you simply for being who you are. Like you were not doing any harm to anybody.
Like I said, I got death threats beforehand that I felt were more serious than the average bear. I don't know for sure that that person was connected to the death
Mm,
threats because
right,
it
right.
it
Could
seemed
be.
like it was just a regular run-of-the-mill essay, right? Like, he just wanted the same thing every essay person seems to want,
Yeah.
and then when he was finished, he wanted to dispose of the witness, you know? That kind of situation. But on the other hand, that was the same period of time that people in my area were straight up killing trans people,
Yeah.
either on the street or there was a fellow who made the news, you know, Rip Sam, who was tortured for a fucking month. And the whole point was just to kill the trans person, you know?
Exactly.
So I don't know. Was it he thought I looked like an easy target to get his rocks off, or was it he knew who I was and intended to
Targeted.
humiliate
Yeah.
me before trying to off me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Either one would make sense.
Yeah, I just I can't tell because he got away, you know? I gave his knife back to him in a rather aggressive fashion, but he escaped and they didn't even give me a rape kit. They didn't care.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Now that makes it so much worse. But I can't say that I'm shocked because yeah, because that's the world we live in, right? That where trans people are not believed and they're not uh, given their worth, basically. Like they're yeah, uh, that just makes me sick.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe there was an attempt and I just didn't hear about it. Maybe they put the word out that, you know, if a brown-haired white guy walks into a hospital with a freaking
With
butcher knife
yeah,
in his shoulder, call us, and it just never I don't know. I
I
just don't
mean
know.
that would have been so easy to spot and like wow, yeah, come on. Ugh.
I mean, it's the worst description, you know? It's like out of 100,000 people, 950,000 people match that description, except for the wound, you know? But if he doesn't go to a hospital to get it treated, even if they did put the word out, it'll never it just it's infuriating and disturbing, you know? It still makes me afraid, you know? Because, like,
Of
I go for my
course.
walks every night. I go at night because, A, it's easier to tell when people are coming because it's quieter. They often have lights on or something so you can see the light or the shadows or whatever. It's actually harder to sneak up on me after dark. But also because there's fewer people, and it's the people that make me afraid. But even so, like, I've always got my phone on. That's one of the main reasons I'm always listening to a live stream, so that if something seems fishy, I can just type in the live chat whatever's happening. Like, hey, these guys are attacking, like, so people know, you know,
Yeah.
in real time, someone knows. Or I can switch over to studio real quick and go live, you know, so people
Right.
can see what's happening. Or I could call 911 or whatever emergency number. I don't expect a great deal of help from that, but I could, you know, it just there's options. And so I want to have my phone in my hand and turned on, but also I want anybody who gets near me to know my phone is in my hand and turned on because it makes me a little safer. And I also carry one of those steel batons that telescopes. Even that's not so I
Yeah.
was walking last week, and as I was just strolling along the street, a car went past me and slowed down, and
Uh,
just the sound of the car slowing down, my
yeah.
adrenaline
I
spiked, and
already.
I felt that
Yeah.
rush of fear, and I'm like, "Motherfucker." I just It does, yeah, as Robin says, sometimes it saves your life. It helps keep you safe, but the fact that we have to live that way.
I have actually never been attacked in that way personally, but just having heard the stories of other women and trans people and LGBTQ people, I now, whenever I have to go out alone, I just carry pepper spray. It's legal here in Texas, so I'm able to carry it. I know it's not in every state, so I'm lucky in that way. But I don't know if it will work, but I carry it anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was a repo agent, as a general rule, I didn't carry weapons because they only ever escalated a situation. But the thing was, as a repo agent, I was the aggressor. It was always my option to leave, right? That's very different from when someone else is the aggressor. Obviously, you want to leave, but it's not your choice, you know?
Yeah. So Robin said it's part of being a woman. But why? Why does it have to be part of being a woman? It shouldn't be part of being a woman. We should be able to feel safe.
Yeah. I know that's the whole point of all the, like, the person we were talking about last Friday, the women actually want patriarchy, as they go, oh, well, men are supposed to keep us all safe. Look how good a job the patriarchy's been doing at that.
Men keeping us safe from men. What?
Yeah.
Do you not see their irony there, woman?
I know it's fucking ridiculous, but you know, that's tangents upon tangents, which is why we have a tangent emoji for, you know, members. You can get access to that as long as all the other emojis for just 99 cents a month. And there's higher levels if you want more benefits, like the member stream I mentioned earlier. That'll be next week.
I completely forgot how we got here, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm like kind of trying to bridge us back to the actual topic for today, which is eyeballs and brains showing us God. And that's not my sexiest segue ever, but we've been tangenting upon tangenting for a while, and I really don't. Okay, so in fairness, a couple people have pointed out in chat this is an important topic, and it's something that does need to be talked about. I would just prefer to make that the point of a show rather than derail a show to talk about it. You know, if that, does that make sense?
For sure, of course, yeah, it does.
I'm probably silly. It just, yeah. All right, so our first video, this is the shortest one. It's also a bit of a mood setter, I suppose, because this fella's going to tell us he's got proof God is real because of eyeballs. Lil says it's sexy.
Look at the eyes. This isn't look at the trees. This is look at the eyes.
That's right. Look at the eyeballs. Oh, goodness. So I'm sure this is going to go well, and we'll all be believers after this.
Oh, yeah.
The human eye proves God is real.
Which God?
Maybe first of all.
Oh, shit. I have a graphic for a witch God. Like, you know, with the hat and the pumpkin.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Oh, I need to get that back. Oh, goodness.
Proof God is real.
I love epic intro Buster music. Like it's a 3-minute video, fam. Settle down.
The eye is amazingly complex with many interworking parts. There are 3 layers of tissue in the eye. The outer layer is called the sclera. This layer gives the eyeball its white color. The middle layer.
All this production value, right? He's got the intro music, he's got the lights, he's got the set, the studio, 2 different cameras, etc. Could he do 2 takes to pronounce the damn thing correctly?
He says sclera, right? It took me a second to realize he meant sclera.
Eyeball its white color. The middle layer is the choroid. It contains blood vessels that supply the sclera. This layer gives the eyeball its white color. The middle layer.
It's not even the sclera. It's saying the word eyeball he fucked up.
Oh.
And there's a cut anyway to the second camera. Do a second take, my guy. So, okay, pro tip for people. Granted, I'm barely a professional, but I will give you a tip, fellow creators. When you're recording a video, if you fuck up a line, don't freak out. Don't move. Hold the same position to make the cut more continuous.
I
Not
do that.
continuous, contiguous, whatever. It doesn't matter. But like just snap right next to your microphone to give a sharp audio spike to show future you there's an edit right here. So you can scan through the audio real quick and find the edit. And then just say the line again correctly.
Mm-hmm. I usually just leave a silence. Yes. Like, so I know, oh, okay, here I have to cut it.
Yeah, so that's what I do. And it doesn't always make a smooth transition. Like if I'm ranting and I'm in the middle of a movement when I flub a word, I'm not gonna get a smooth blend between the cut and after. But the audio matters more than the video.
Mm-hmm.
The audio matters more than the video.
I
So
know
make sure
sometimes
the
I'll put
audio
stuff
works.
over my video because I look weird or whatever, but obviously still the audio, so it matters more.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you've got the best video in the world but your audio sucks, nobody's going to watch your videos because a lot of people listen to videos. This is also why you can get away with no video in your videos, why you can be a floating bubble, or you can have, an avatar like Vice Rhino's Rhino before he did the face reveal. It just
John the Skeptic.
Sound matters more than anything. So yeah, that's my tip there. Retake your takes. Don't be afraid to retake your takes. Just do it right, Oh, goodness.
Oh, by the way, he said stairs in Spanish. Escalera.
That's awesome. And
we
also,
have stairs in our eyes.
the outer layer is like the sclera is the white part of the eye, right? The outer layer of the seeing part of the eye is the cornea, right?
Yeah,
or am I
it is.
crazy?
No, you're not. Because I had my corneas transplanted, so I know.
Yeah. So like he's not even correct with the things he is pronouncing ish. Oh wow.
Yeah, he's just too focused in proving God.
I guess the Holy Spirit's whispering in his ear like Cyrano de Bergerac, and he's just not able to repeat back correct. I don't know.
Yeah.
Layer is the choroid. It contains blood vessels that supply oxygen to the retina. The retina is the innermost layer. In the front of the eye is the cornea, a transparent structure that...
Okay, he got the cornea. He had to
He
pause
said at the
before he
front of
cut
the
it.
eye, so I guess fair enough description.
Yeah, it's in there anyway.
helps to focus incoming light. The iris is a colored ring-shaped membrane found behind the cornea. In the middle of the iris is a circular opening called the pupil that expands and contracts depending on how...
Well, actually, no. The pupil is a hole. The pupil is a lack of material, which is controlled by the iris. It's the iris expanding and contracting that opens or closes the pupil.
Gotcha.
That's what the iris is for. That's why it's little tiny muscle fiber looking things. The reason there's color is it's a secondary trait. Like it's how the structures are put together, and some of them happen to have what is perceived as color. Like there's a thing, I don't know for sure if it's true, so I could very well be mistaken on this, but blue eyes aren't actually blue, right? Like they don't, like most things that you look at that are colored, they're absorbing light and they're re-emitting or reflecting a certain wavelength. That's not true for blue eyes, right? They're absorbing light the same as everything else, but they're just, I don't know. I forget how it's been described to me, but it's like it's a trick of the light. Like they're not actually reflecting blue light. They're doing a weird optical trick so that it looks like they're reflecting blue. I shouldn't have brought it up because I forget the exact details, and now I sound like a flibbertigibbet.
No, you're fine. Like I have really unique iris color. I don't. The doctors will like never figure out exactly why, but my eyes are fucked up. Uh, so everybody I meet is like always comments on the eye color. I don't know what exact color they are. Can you tell?
Hmm.
They're like sometimes they're like grayish and sometimes they're like greenish or
Yeah.
hazily.
Yeah, almost like a steel blue-ish kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
on my license, on my ID, it says blue. I guess they just went with blue.
Yeah, mine are well, I don't know for sure. Maybe y'all can tell. I don't know. If my camera actually shows it, the light is awful. I don't know. I don't know. They are under normal light conditions a shade of green. They used to be the same green that's in the emoji, but they've been changing again. Which happens as I age. When I was young, they actually changed color. I'm told depending on my mood, but I didn't always have a mirror handy to check. So I don't know, but
For me, it's like more than the light. Like if I'm outside versus inside, it looks a little bit different. Or if it's cloudy outside versus sunny, they seem to change color.
yeah. And that's a thing too. It's like the white dress, blue dress thing. Like the
Yeah.
color of the light you're around changes the colors that are reflecting off of things. So yeah. Oh well. Anyhow,
Let's see
anatomy of the
what
eye
it's gonna
notwithstanding,
say.
how does this prove God though?
Haven't got to that
How
yet.
much
I
light
think.
Yeah.
enters the eye? A clear fluid fills the area between the cornea and the iris. Behind the pupil is a clear structure called the crystalline lens. This lens is surrounded by small muscles that hold it in place and that also assist in helping us see. To see objects far away, the muscles relax, pulling on the lens and flattening it. To see objects close at hand, the muscles contract, causing the lens to thicken. Inside the eye,
Partially. There is some truth to that, but that's not the only function. One of the two reasons our pupils expand and contract also has to do with focal depth, right? Like part of it is letting more or less light in depending on the light conditions. Like if you're outside at night, your pupils get big to let in more light. If you're in midday sun or a bright room, they get very small. And that's a big reason. So photographer tip, another tangent, photographer tip, if you're going to do portraits, continuous light. Don't get me wrong, flash is amazing. You can do cool shit with flash, but it's for specialty stuff like stuff that's in motion where you need to freeze the motion like a dancer in the middle of a leap, or when you need to overpower the sun, like you're doing a photo shoot at the beach at sunset or something, and you want to have total control of the light. That's great. For a portrait, continuous light is better, and you can get great portraits with flash, don't get me wrong, but continuous light is better because it makes the pupils smaller. A flash in a dark room will give you big pupils. You want small pupils so you get maximum color in the eyeballs.
Okay. That's a great tip. Thanks.
Yeah.
My
So
husband
that,
loves photography, so
that's
I'll
a
tell
whole
him
other
that one.
yeah. But another thing you learn from doing photography is that the size of the aperture determines the focal the focal range, right? Like if you have a very small aperture, you get a very large focal range. If you drop your camera down to like f8 or something, you have a pretty decent focal range. You have a good chance of being able to get your subject and the background both in focus. If you raise it, you open the aperture up to like 2.8, 2.4, or even wider, then you can get the subject in focus and the same background will be blurred. You'll get that bokeh effect that makes camera photos look so pretty that phone photos have been trying for decades to duplicate,
Maybe,
sort of.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that works. And your eyeball does the same thing. When your pupil is super wide, your depth of field is very narrow. But when your eyeball is narrow, everything can be in focus at once. And so it's two different things going on. There is some movement of the muscles to shape the lens inside, but there's also a function of the pupil. And the fact that that information that's controlled completely automatically by the brain based on the data coming into the sensor, that's pretty impressive, because it's not the eyeball doing it, right? Like the retina has no idea what's in focus and what's not. It's just receiving the light and then sending it down the optic nerve. The brain receives that data, says, hey, this thing we're trying to look at is freaking out of focus. And it just automatically, through muscle memory, knows how much to move the lens and the pupil both to get the thing into focus, and does so in a fraction of a second. Fucking amazing.
But it doesn't prove God.
Yeah.
Eyeball is found a jelly-like tissue. After light travels through the lens, the light travels through this tissue before hitting the retina. Embedded in the retina are millions of light-sensitive cells that are divided into rods and cones. The rods help us see in low light conditions. The cones help us see colors and fine detail. When light hits the rods and cones, the light is converted into an electrical impulse that's carried to the brain through the optic nerve.
Well, electrochemical. It's not like it's a copper wire that's just zapping power. No, it's a chemical signal that has an electrical charge. Like,
But
an
yeah.
ion,
But
basically.
so he's saying that specifically the human eye, right? He's talking about human eyes only, I think. But if you look at the mantis shrimp, their eyes are way better than our eyes. They
In
have
certain respects, they
we have
do.
like 3 cones, right? I think 3, like to perceive 3 different colors, which then we mix up and make different colors. They have 16. Imagine how much more they can see. They can see what is that called? Gosh, my brain is blanking. But ultraviolet lights. They can see
Mhm.
ultraviolet lights, which we cannot see without a naked eye. They can see with a naked eye.
So there's
Uh,
another thing about that, though. They can see colors with a greater precision of detail, but it isn't necessarily a wider range, right? Like, we can see every color between red and blue, right? And then we have that the average person has that third receptor, which we call green, that's somewhere in the middle.
mhm.
And when you have blue-green color blindness, the blue and the green are too close together, and so the brain has trouble figuring out which is which. When you have red-green color blindness, that receptor's too close to the red, same problem, right? But it's that extra receptor in the middle. When a person is a tetrachromat, then you have a fourth receptor, which is it's another green, but at a slightly different wavelength, right? So it's a
Gotcha.
little more yellow, or a little more, one way or the other. And it's the same range of vision, but you get greater degrees of difference. And that's what the mantis shrimp have going on. We can still see and perceive every color in that range that our eyeballs
Right,
are
yeah.
capable of receiving. We just can't differentiate them as well. And so that's an important thing. Like, we see the same rainbow the mantis shrimp does. It goes slightly further in the middle because it can see into the ultraviolet, but it's the same rainbow. It just sees more discrete colors than we do.
But
If you follow.
God could have given us that. He didn't.
It's true.
Why?
God could have also had our retina facing the right way around, because right now we have, I guess you might call it a backside illuminated retina, which is not ideal for visual acuity. Like, you want your sensors facing the source of light. Now, there is a good reason for having it facing backwards like it is, and it's so you don't burn out your retina. Because remember, our ancient ancestors, our hominid ancestors, even, like, we're going back to when our ancestors had tails and shit, and apes don't have tails. They're in an equatorial region where the sunlight gets really fucking bright. And so protecting the retina from burn from direct exposure, that's a valid evolutionary mechanism, right?
Yeah.
But we would have greater visual acuity if the retina were facing forward, like we see in, say, giant squids. But they live down deep where you don't not
Light
only
is
have
different.
to
Yeah.
worry about direct sunlight, but also you need every damn photon you can get.
Yeah. So Henry Hansen said, "I thought God hated shrimp." I love that. Well, he didn't want us to eat the shrimp. Well,
I
yeah, I
know.
guess because he thought that was too dirty. So yeah, I guess he hated them
Actually,
kind of.
I've never considered that. That could be correct. Maybe the prohibition on eating shellfish is because they, not humans, are the chosen species. God is literally running around telling all the other species, don't touch my chosen people, the shrimp. Leave them the fuck alone. They're my favorites. Don't hurt them.
And the pigs are really smart. So maybe he thought that they were smarter than humans.
I mean, they might be. They have life pretty well figured out. Granted, not so much farm pigs. They tend to get sacrificed on the table of ham people, bacon eaters and such. But like in nature, pigs they have very few predators. They're damn near indestructible. They're incredibly aggressive, and they can find food fucking everywhere.
Oh
Like
yeah,
even
they'll
if
eat
they're in
anything.
patch of
We
land, they'll
used
just
to,
like snorkel the dirt a minute, and suddenly they have a giant mushroom, and they're good. Like, ah.
yeah. God knew what he was doing there.
Apparently, I don't know. He cursed them with, having bacon.
With being delicious.
No, that was their sin. They got too prideful, and so God was like, "Now bacon," and the human.
The brain translates the electric impulse into an image. This cleverly designed and complex process.
Wait. I agree.
Cleverly designed.
The brain does the magic. I agree. But if he's saying the eyeball is proof of God, then why do we need to run it through the brain to process the image? If it's so cleverly designed, if it's so
Why
fearfully and
the
wonderfully
whole
made,
system in the eyeball?
right? Why does it need remote processing?
That's too many steps.
Mhm.
Where somewhere along the way things can go wrong. They do. They do a lot. Is
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
I will never understand why they call this a perfect design. And also why they call humans perfect design as well, right? Like when you talk to a theist, well, at least the more hardcore ones, and they're like, well, everybody's created perfect. I have one of those family members. Oh my gosh, he is super transphobic. And when the whole thing with the trans boxer uh, happened, like, well, it was several months ago.
Do
And
you mean Iman Khalif? Because
oh yeah,
rumors
Michael,
to the
yeah.
contrary, she's not actually trans.
Oh no, I know,
We
I
we don't
know.
even know if she's intersex.
Obviously, no,
It's alleged.
but he made her trans. Okay, he heard she was trans, so she was trans to him, and
Uh-huh.
so he never admitted that she wasn't trans during all of these very intense conversations that we had. So it was a family group chat, okay, and he will purposely bring it up because he knew it pissed me off. And so we started having this conversation about, well, why do trans people deserve the option to have any surgery that they want? Because anybody has that option, right? Women who are assigned female at birth have the option to get boobs done. Men can have hair plugs, whatever, right? That's your choice. You have the freedom to do that. So why do trans people not have the freedom to do that? That was my argument back to him. And he's like, well, because all humans are created perfect. So I'm like, well, excuse me, but right here, just above my neck, I have shitty ears and shitty eyes. I had a a cochlear implant done, which is a surgery that I chose to have. I did not have to have it. It was not medically necessary. It was my choice. And corneal transplants, double corneal transplant, which I went blind, so I had to have that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Uh, I mean, doing computer stuff. I couldn't use the computer anymore at that point. And he's like, well, no, but he was basically saying, well, no, but that was your choice. Like you should have respected the body that God gave you. And I'm like, you're serious? And then I brought up my kid who's had open heart surgery, and I was like,
Mhm.
should I not have given them that opportunity to live past 11 weeks, because that was like their first heart surgery? And he's
Uh-huh.
like, God creates everybody perfect. He didn't say, no, you shouldn't have given your kid, he didn't flat out say it, but he was like, repeated what he was already saying. God made everybody perfect. And I'm like, are you seriously? Are you serious right now? So it reminds me of this guy with like his whole perfection. Like the eyes are proof of God because the eyes are created perfect. And I'm like, and proof that they're not.
I know, the first time I came across that argument, I was responding to a video from a fellow who was a dentist, and he wore glasses, and he's like, "The eyeball is perfect," and I'm like, "You wear glasses, my guy. What do you mean it's perfect? It's fucking wild." But, like, these same people say, "Oh, you're created perfect," but also practice circumcision and other forms of infant genital mutilation, which babies definitely cannot consent to. But
Right.
never mind that. It just oh my goodness, it's wild. So my youngest was an ectopic pregnancy. Apparently that's
Wow.
perfect. Like we had to do an abortion,
I know.
sort of.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those situations
Mm,
where we kept her in as long as possible so she had the best chance,
yeah.
past viability and so forth. And then we did like effectively a very late abortion because it terminated the pregnancy early, but she also lived. But she had to be in the NICU for several weeks while her body caught up and things. And it
To
just,
the age. Yeah. Yeah. And like
yeah.
my kid, we had a similar thing. It was like we were notified during the 20-week scan that the baby will have the heart conditions, and then there were some other signs that pointed to them having trisomy 18, which is not compatible with life.
Oof.
So we were told that the baby will live maybe a couple hours after birth, and that's when I got into religion. That was the reason I got into religion. And because family was like kind of encouraging me to go to church to heal the baby and all that stuff, and it turned out that the scan was wrong, so they didn't have trisomy 18. But at that point we decided not to do any more testing and to just continue the pregnancy because we were offered an abortion at the time. But I was all about, well, I'm gonna let God decide. And well, after the baby was born, I was like, oh, God must have heard my prayers, which is funny. Yeah, but like, why would a God creating perfect creations do that to completely innocent babies? Well, I guess
Yeah.
Adam and Eve are to blame. I guess. Well, Eve, mostly
Yeah,
Eve.
it's a fallen world. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm intersex, right? Like I'm what happens, I'm the opposite of twins. I'm when twins fuse together to form a single fetus, right? And what the fuck is up with that? What was God thinking there? you know?
if it's so weird. Like if God created only male and female, why did He create intersex people? Just to fuck with them,
Yeah.
like on purpose?
And I should be clear because I see some new people in the chat and every video is somebody's first video anyway. I'm a chimera. I happen to be a 46XX 46XY chimera. I have roughly equal amounts of both sets of DNA because the two proto fetuses that I was made from were one was genetically male, one was genetically female. And as a
Wow.
result, I have both sets of parts, and I have other asserted interesting anatomical features that result from being two twins blended together. But not every set of chimeric twins who become a single individual have that. There's just as much chance the two twins have the same sex chromosomes. in either direction. It doesn't have to be one or the other. So you can have chimerism without intersex. You just have other fun things going on. Or you can have chimerism with like double sex characteristics. There have been a few babies reported in the medical literature who have they're mostly conjoined twins, but they have certain parts that are doubled, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I get you.
It every possible variation exists somewhere in nature, is what I'm getting at. And that's exactly what you would expect to see in a chaotic universe run by natural law, not some divine creator who's
Where
shaping
everything
and
is
guiding every single
random.
thing. Yeah.
Or genetics,
Mhm.
easily explained by genetics.
Robin says Ember is an example of God's perfect creation.
Truth.
If I'm an example of perfection, holy shit, that's disturbing.
I will say the same about me. Like, yeah.
I'm enjoying
Please.
being me now, but it took me 43 years to get to the point that I was able to. I don't wish that on anyone or any of the other shit that I've been through. I don't wish that on anyone. Like, holy
If I
crap.
could, if science could clone me, I will forbid them from doing it. I will be like, no, don't do that.
Aunt Jur says, my dad has 2 uvulas. I wonder if he absorbed a twin. His mom was a twin. There's a non-zero chance. Now, don't get me wrong. Not every anomaly in anatomy is because of merged twins, but it does happen a lot more often than people think. We don't have solid data on it because nobody's fucking studied it yet, but geneticists estimate we're approximately 10% of the population, this merged twin thing, this chimerism. And so it does happen a lot, and very often you end up with a perfectly normal anatomy, completely indistinguishable from anyone else, which is another reason nobody's ever studied it, because it usually doesn't matter for all intents and purposes. But I can see a very good evolutionary reason for why that might happen, because humans invest so much energy into raising our offspring that there is an advantage to having one offspring rather than multiple. Like humans have this weird thing where we don't do litters like many species of mammals do. We will have twins from time to time, which is its own anomaly for a different reason. But we seem to have a higher propensity of merging our twins rather than splitting our zygotes into twins. It can go either way, but it seems like the merging happens more often because then you end up with a single fetus, which is an advantage insofar as you can take care of one child easier than 2 at the same time. Sort of. Like I said, it needs to be studied. It needs to be studied, but I can see a basis for that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what this guy's got to say about the
Oh,
eyes.
right. We were doing a thing.
We forgot. We
gives
completely
us
went off the
sight.
rails.
The eye
In fairness, we're much more interesting than he is.
is far more sophisticated than a camera. Yet no one thinks that a camera came into existence by chance. But not only does the
That's true. No one thinks that because we build the cameras. Like that's a thing we do. We can go to a factory. Like, I mean,
You can see the people building the cameras.
right, and we can take them apart and look at the pieces. Like the screws are visible. Nobody sees a baby camera. Okay, in fairness, there are some very tiny cameras, and we make jokes about how they might grow up to be a real camera someday. But holy crap! Like, yes, we know they don't grow on their own because we make them. Holy shit!
evolutionary narrative insists that eyes are the result of chance. It insists further.
No, evolution, which isn't a narrative per se, not in the way he means. It's not chance. Chance gives us mutations, at least as best we can ascertain. Like there's definitely some kind of mechanism behind mutations, but for all intents and purposes, every mutation appears to be a roll of the dice. But then there's the selection mechanism, and that is not just chance. The things that don't work get filtered out, and the things that do work get spread throughout the population, generally speaking. Ay, ay, ay. Can y'all hear the doggos? The doggos are very
Oh
excited.
yeah, I hear them.
I do have like a sound filter on, but they're very loud, so they're probably
I
chiming
know.
through.
I usually have to put mine in a whole different room so it doesn't. Yeah,
Oh
because
yeah,
they're so loud. They're so
they're on
loud.
the other side of the house, but one of
Oh,
them is
okay, okay.
Great Dane, so it
They're
doesn't
just
matter how
extra.
far away it is.
Further, that the staggering complex organ randomly developed not just in one species, but in many species at the same time. The
Not at the same time. That just goes to show how, I mean, this man, he mispronounced eyeball. He is not an expert on this subject, you know?
You can't
Uh,
trust anything after you mispronounce eyeball.
it's fucking wild. But he so the eyeball has developed several different times in many different species, and it continues to develop. Like, our eyeballs are slightly different from our chimpanzee cousins, and they're slightly different from our collective gorilla cousins, and so forth. Like, it continues to develop. It wasn't just poof and then it's done, you know? But also, we've seen fish. There's several species of fish who lost their vision because it wasn't useful to them. So a mutation broke their vision and it didn't affect them at all because it wasn't a useful thing in the dark caves and depths that they dwelled in or whatever. And now their circumstances have changed. Some of them have started to develop new eyeballs. And there's one species in particular where they're growing their new eyeballs, which are at this point in their development just photosensitive cells in a little bit of a concavity on top of where their old eyeballs used to
I saw
be.
that. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that. It's crazy. But I mean, that's the definition of adaptation. They adapt to their environment.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
doesn't
that,
require any type of magic.
yeah, if it were god powers, first of all, why are there blind cave fish? And second, when their environment changed, why wouldn't God just turn the eyeballs back on? The existing one, you know?
And if
Holy shit.
humans are created in his image, why did he create all of these other species with very similar traits to humans? Like, did he not have any other designs?
Right. Like, why are there so many different eyeballs? If it was one designer and his designs are perfect, why isn't it the same perfect eyeball in everything that uses eyeballs? Holy
Give everybody mantis shrimp eyeballs.
shit. I think like dragonfly eyeballs would be cool, or any compound eye really,
Ooh.
because you get 180-degree vision
Yeah, the
and you see
little.
these cute little hexagons, you know? I can't even begin to imagine what that would look. I mean, if I grew up with that, my brain would just know
Can you
how to
imagine
work
like
with
this
that data
big?
stream. But if you plugged it in now, like we can try to simulate the vision with like kaleidoscopes or VR headsets or whatever, but it's not the same because whatever's coming in through those is still going through our regular two
Your
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if your
But
eyes are shitty like mine, then they're coming in with very terrible quality.
yeah, it just, oh my goodness.
So I had when before I had my vision repaired, I had to have two separate surgeries on each eye. One of them was a corneal transplant, and the second one was to correct cataracts. So when I had both of these conditions at the same time, my vision was horrible. If I looked at the moon, because of the corneal issue, which was that so our corneas are curved but not super curved. Mine were like a cone, like really, really curved. And this made it to where you saw different, like a repetition of the same image. Then on top of that, I had the issue with the cataracts, which makes your vision really blurry and it makes it hard for you to perceive light, to process light. And so because I couldn't see light, I couldn't see super clearly. And so let's say if I looked at the moon, it not only looked super blurry, but I saw like 10 different moons at the same
Holy
time.
crap.
It was crazy. So like how can you trust eyes like that?
I can't imagine. That's wild.
I know it was crazy. Yeah, I could barely use my phone. Like I had to use it like right in my face with like the maximum increase of size for text, and I could definitely not use the computer. I couldn't read anything. If I had to go to the grocery store, it was just like grabbing stuff based on like memory of what things would look like. uh so yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it's like over here somewhere, kind of. Oh goodness.
Yeah. Like I will
So,
always go with somebody because everybody, like, okay, we're in the vegetable section. Okay, there's some green stuff right there. Like I could see sort of the color in general, but everything was super blurry. Like if somebody was standing in front of me, I couldn't see their facial features. Their
oof.
face was just a big blob. Like I could tell who they were based on like, height and body shape or like hairstyle. I could tell if they were wearing glasses, obviously, because it was just like a big thing across their eyes. But it was all a mess. So like, how can you trust something like that to be able to make good decisions or even claim that that's a perfect creation? That's why that proves God. Shitty eyes prove God, I guess.
Clearly, and Rippity says,
Oh,
"Don't forget the bear life fish, the most messed up fish in the world." So these are fish that hang out in Argentina. There's a few different kinds of them, but I assume this is the kind being referenced.
I am
They
from
they
Argentina.
not only have weird eyes, but their head is transparent. Like
Wow.
you can see.
Okay. I've never seen that one before. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
They're
Wow.
such weird little fishies. Yeah, perfect designs, you know?
Can you imagine humans with transparent heads?
That
Wow.
would be a little disturbing, I should think.
Really disturbing. So you say from Argentina?
That's the rumor. I haven't seen one
Okay.
personally, so I don't know, but
Okay, I am from Argentina, but I've never heard of them. Okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, nature's got all kinds of fun variations that don't always make a great deal of sense. It's fun. Sometimes
Therefore,
it's fun.
God.
Sometimes it's horrifying. Why not
Yeah.
both? Yeah.
Fun and horrifying, yeah, for sure. That one qualifies as both.
Yeah, there's some like what is it? The pilot fish. So there's a bunch of horrifying things about them. The little lure, the light thing that they
Oh
have right in front of
yeah.
their mouth, but also the fact that when they reproduce, they don't just have sex. Like the male merges onto the female and then his entire body except for his reproductive tract dissolves. Like his brain melts, his face melts, his muscle it's just a pair of testicles and they're attached to the female now. Like that's
Okay, then.
horrifying.
Yeah, wow. Okay, I think I mentioned on the last stream about the jellyfish that merged together when one of them gets hurt, and then like their butthole is the only part that doesn't merge. So it has as many as like if it's more than two, then it will have more than two buttholes.
That's a thing I haven't heard about in chimeric human twins. People with multiple buttholes.
Wow. Okay.
See,
That's
the mentioning of that right at that point, it also makes me think of a podcast called Hello from the Magic Tavern, where um there's the characters are hilarious. They're all improv actors. The main character, well, there's three main characters, but the lead, I suppose, the host of the podcast is Arnie Niekamp, who also likes help design Jackbox games and shit. So he's an incredibly funny fella. Um, but one of the other characters named Chunt with 6 T's, he was on a quest to have multiple buttholes at one point, and he ended up at least it's been a while since I heard the podcast. But the last I heard, he had 3 buttholes and he considered the trinity of buttholes to be the perfect being. It just
what?
and we
Well,
scared John
now.
away.
Okay, I'm sorry, but now it makes you wonder about the Holy Trinity. Yeah, I have questions.
I know John's like, all right, I'm out. Thanks, folks. Thank you for coming by, John. Oh goodness. And I am seeing a bunch of new people. If you're new here and you would like to join us in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're doing this different people from time to time. But we do this every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time, adjust for your respective time zone.
10 a.m. Central over here.
Yeah, this show's a little more chaotic than usual, but it's not outside the range of what we might consider normal here.
And whatever time it is for the Welshman in the chat, Richard Gilliver. I'm joking. He's British. He'll hate me because I got him Welsh.
Oh, is Richard hanging out?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Neat.
Septic takeout. That's his channel.
Ah, okay. You added a channel name since the last time I saw it. In fairness, I usually catch Richard over at the ACA shows, which I don't go to all that often. But
you can catch him on my show in November. You can catch him in November. Yeah. We're going to talk philosophy and about his books and adventures out there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, we can actually finish a video today. So let's
I think we can.
I do have more videos, but I try to keep the show to 2 hours so that it's like watchable in the future because we appreciate you future people too.
Odds of this happening are astronomical. The fact that I can see anything at all makes me say, yes, God is there. If you want more proof God is real.
Okay, that's his proof. I can see, therefore God. Okay, I was not expecting that ending. I thought he was going to bring like something more conclusive.
I know. It's literally just an argument from incredulity. Eyes exist. I don't know how, therefore God. But it's not even a look at the trees. It's a I can look at the trees.
Right, I see the trees, therefore God.
Holy crap.
Wow. Okay. That was an unexpected ending right there. That one blew my mind.
Uh-huh. It's one of the worst arguments I've heard in a while. Oh goodness. Okay, so I've got 2 other videos. We're definitely not going to get to both unless we only do like a short sample of one and then go to the other. One is a Harvard eyeball surgeon who finds God through vision.
Oh no.
Like vision, not a vision.
No, don't let an eye surgeon. No.
Uh-huh. And the other is a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
So I'm inclined to go in that direction because we did eyeballs already. We promised brains.
Yeah.
I know the zombies will come for us if we don't bring them brains. Yeah.
So Cher said blind people will like a word, sir.
Right? Like they can't see, therefore no God.
Yes, exactly. Blind people are proof that there's no God. We could use that one.
I mean, that actually does hold up though in a logical context, right? Like if it's a problem of evil situation. If there is a God who is omnibenevolent and omnipotent, how are there blind people? Like he could heal the blind, and if he's benevolent, should want to. Why are there blind
the benevolent part for sure.
But you know who is omnibenevolent? Our dear friend Kelly, the atheist queen of Detroit, who sends a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Kelly, and says, "Did y'all miss me today?" Sure did. Kelly's usually hanging out with us, but she's decided she needs to actually rest now and then, which is fair.
My eyeballs miss seeing her.
Yay. But yeah, I mean, okay. So as many of y'all know, we sometimes do a show called Job and Jugs with a bunch of girls. We you know, it's a woman's show, but we do it like in the time slot where the damn show normally goes. So the show only happens opportunistically when Chris takes a day off. But any of the hosts from Job and Jugs are welcome here. I send an invite to every show, and anybody who wants to from that group can just drop in. But if they want to, like, there's no obligation, right? So Kelly comes and goes as she pleases. AJ wanted to be here today because eyeballs and brains are fun. And some days other people will be around when they feel like it, and that's all fine.
Yeah,
But
I'll
yes,
definitely be
we may
back
see different
for
people on different
Monday.
days. Yeah.
I'll definitely be
What?
back on Monday. That one sounded interesting.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah, the end of
medical. I
healthcare.
think the medical one. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one. The healthcare stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad because that one I don't actually have a video for. I have
Okay.
an article to start us off with, and then probably as we go along, we'll probably be looking stuff up. I may find a video, and if anybody has a suggestion for a video that talks about this kind of stuff, feel free to bug me on the Discords
I'll
or the
send you.
DMs or whatever. But like that one will be mostly discussion. So yeah, at least as it stands right now. That's yeah. It yeah.
Yeah, that one's gonna be stressful for sure. Talking about
Mhm.
Project 2025 and all the harms that they're doing to all kinds of people with their horrible denial of science.
Mhm. It's the worst. It's the worst.
Okay, let's stop thinking about it. Let's watch this.
All right, all right. Yeah,
Uh,
let's go to something slightly less horrible. So we promised brains, so let's do some neuroscience. Hopefully. So this is a clip, as it says in the thing. This is a clip from a Sean McDowell live stream. What could
pediatric
possibly go wrong?
neurology. No.
Director of Pediatric Neurosurgery, an award-winning brain surgeon and author of The Immortal Mind, a neurosurgeon's case for the existence of the soul.
Oh no, I think Richard is gonna have words for this one. We talked about consciousness last time he was on my show. So like the immortal mind, yeah, okay.
Uh-huh,
Bye.
uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I can probably relate to Richard. And I mean that literally because I'm half Irish, half Scotch, and half Welsh. So, whichever one of the
Wait, that would be
non-English
one third of
strands.
each. I think that would be one
No,
third.
no. Remember, I'm twins. I
Oh
am one
right,
half
right.
of you.
Okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. My bad.
See, I have an
I'll grant
excuse
you
for it
that.
now. I used to just say it because it was funny. People would be like, "Wait a second, I think you did the math wrong." But now I have an excuse.
That's so smart. I love it. That's funny.
I was born into a kind of a non-religious family as a child, and I fell in love with science at a very early age. And I thought that all the mysteries of life, all the really meaningful things that one could discover, could be discovered with science. So I believed in the Darwinian way of understanding man, and in, physics and chemistry and all those things. And I majored in biochemistry in college, and I wanted to be a doctor, and I really wanted to be a neurosurgeon because I wanted to understand the brain and the mind. Because I thought.
Okay, I mean, good so far.
So
I
far, so
also
good.
appreciate the subtitles. In fact, I'll make the screen big to make it easier
Oh
for
yeah, thank
folks
you.
to read. I can't get rid of the little tag that says Ember because it's a share screen, but
That's fine.
it'll make the subtitles a bit more visible. Richard says, "Yep, Ember is my Scottish cousin."
Love that.
And Subami says, "So 1 + 1 + 1."
There you go. Now you
I
have the
mean,
explanation.
the Holy Spirit was probably involved, I guess.
I know Rippity say half alcohol. That's the fourth half.
Yeah.
Thought that I would understand on a deep level who we are and what we are if I knew all the science there was to know about the brain. So I graduated from medical school. I trained in neurosurgery and graduated from my residency in 1991 and went out and practiced as a neurosurgeon. And a number of things happened to me as a neurosurgeon and as a husband and a father.
One thing that really bugs me about these clips is there's supposed to be like Sean does long live streams and a bunch of other theistic creators do this too, where they have a person's entire fucking life story, which, fine. That's wonderful, whatever. But like, they put it on like, here's proof of God from the brain. And then they spend 2 hours and 10 minutes talking about, so I went to college and there I studied from books. And the books were like made by industrial presses and like a whole bunch of shit that you're not there to hear about, you know?
That have nothing to do with the proof.
Yeah. And so they make the clips so you can get right to the point. And then we're not getting right to the point.
Yeah, it's still on a bunch of fillers.
Yeah. Ugh.
That changed the way I look at the world. As a neurosurgeon, I began finding patients who had large parts of their brains missing. A good example was a little girl who was born with only about half her brain. And I counseled her family that this didn't look good.
I see where this is going.
Yeah, the adaptability of brains, the plasticity effect. Like we do see a lot of people with various birth defects. And we call them defects because they're anomalous, but the people seem to function perfectly normally.
Because
Like
the
there's
brain
one-
adjusts, not because magic.
Right. Like if it
I-
were a perfect design, there wouldn't be the anomalies, you know?
Right, like I talk about this a lot because it happened to me and the way my brain adjusted. So before I had my cochlear implant, my thinking inside my head and my dreams were mostly images in very, very colorful, kind of like a video play of things. And it was hardly any voices. Then when I got my cochlear implant was around the same time where I started becoming legally blind. And my thinking changed completely. My brain adjusted to the way the senses were being perceived, and my thinking became mostly majorly a voice that doesn't ever shut the fuck up anyway. uh, but it's like a very toned down, almost black and white color thinking, and it's mostly like flat images, like photos where I can pull memories but not necessarily make new. Like if you describe some type of creature I've never seen, I will have a hard time picturing it. I could probably draw it but not picture it in my mind. And so it's like the brain adjusts. Like that does not equal God, dude.
Yeah,
That
it's
just
fucking amazing adaptability. Like we've talked before about people who were born blind, and then scientists made like a touch sensor. Like
oh,
it receives light on one end, and then it produces touch depending on the sensation. Or no, I'm saying it wrong. It takes the intensity of light and translates it into pressure. So they put the sensor on this person's tongue, and like within 3 days, the visual cortex of the brain, because they were blind, they weren't using it, it just started taking that touch signal from the tongue and turning it into visual data.
right,
And like
because your brain
described-
can do that inside itself. You
Yeah.
can see inside your brain. You don't need your eyes to see.
Right. It just needs something that it recognizes as visual data, and it will start processing it there, and it's fucking cool. But also, the way your brain specifically changed as you gained and lost capabilities, it makes me wonder, a thing I've always wondered, but now like there's case study type stuff supporting it, is we like to think that we're able to perceive all the things that exist in reality when we know there are things we can't perceive. Everything from ultraviolet light to radio waves to subsonic sounds. And who knows if there's other things entirely that we haven't even found yet. And that keeps me up at night sometimes, is wondering all the different things there are that we could be perceiving but aren't, that we aren't even aware are out there. We don't dream about them, we don't see them, we don't think about them because it's not something we have sensors to detect.
Don't give theists ideas because they will be like, well, God could be there. God could be one of those.
Yeah, God's not invisible. He's just in a kind of radiation we've never detected, you know?
Right.
Holy
Different
shit.
waves.
Yeah, it's the quantum entanglement field that unites the whole universe or something. Holy shit.
Oh wait, we
Couldn't
can
be
get back
sure
to the
how she
video.
would do, but it didn't look encouraging. And as she grew up, I followed her, and she was normal at every stage of development, in fact, rather bright. She's now in her mid-20s and a vibrant, normal young woman, has a great job. Her mother says she's too smart for her own good, and she has half a brain. I have a number of other patients with major.
Yeah, the volume of your brain isn't necessarily indicative of intelligence or lack thereof.
or
Like,
ability, or
yeah,
your ability to do things, because the brain adjusts. It's like when people have purposefully part of the brain removed, it adjusts. That's what it does.
or when it suffers damage.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
many,
like
you
traumatic
know,
brain injuries. Yeah,
or
it
strokes.
changes the way. Yeah,
Yeah, like where the stroke is determines which functions get impaired, and depending on the function, recovery timelines are different. But there's people who lose their entire language processing center, and then they learn language over again, and it sucks. It's a major pain in the ass, but it can be done. It's wild. But it also goes to show no designer, because apparently there's so many redundancies in the human brain. Remember, our brains take up about a quarter of the calories that our bodies produce. Our brains are very energy hungry. If we could get away with half of our brain capability, that would reduce the caloric burden on our bodies. We would be
mm-hmm.
much more efficient. We would require much less food, and so on and so forth. The fact that we're not operating at peak efficiency is a case for evolution rather than design.
Exactly. Yeah. No, the language thing that you mentioned. Yeah, that was also my case, because since I was raised with almost no hearing, like my best side has 15% hearing, which meant that out of an entire conversation, I could only understand 15% of it, and so my pronunciation was terrible, because I couldn't hear people saying or differentiate, for example, F versus S, or I didn't know that the TH pronunciation was very similar to the pronunciation of the letter D. Um, so I still have a hard time kind of grasping some of them. So, but I had to relearn how to speak when I got my cochlear implant, because my hearing became so increased that it was a completely different language than what I knew before.
And then you went and had to learn other languages. Like, do you
Right.
suppose, random curiosity, but do you suppose the fact that your brain had to learn to be more adaptable, go through more plasticity than the average person's brain, because of the way your senses have been better and worse over the course of your life, has helped you pick up other languages better, perhaps?
That could be possible. Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried learning like Italian or anything, but I know Spanish, and then I learned English, and I know a decent amount of sign language. Yeah, I did try to learn Japanese with my kid, but it was a little bit too complex for me. I would think maybe like a more similar language to the ones that I already know would probably be easier to pick up, like French or Italian.
Yeah, no doubt. As I understand it, I only took 1 year of French, but I was approaching fluency, and then I took 3 years of German, and I made no progress because the teacher couldn't teach, and that's a testament to how much difference teaching makes, you know.
Oh,
But I did manage to pick up that all the European languages are basically the same language. The English grammatical structure is reversed. That's where the phrase "to turn a phrase" comes from. Is when you're teaching a language, is you turn the phrase for the continental languages, because you're reversing the grammatical structure. But once you have that down, it's basically on the continent you just talk like Yoda. It's warned you I did, that sort of thing. That's the continental grammar structure. English is the backwards one. But once you have that down, it's just vocabulary.
yeah,
German, French, Italian, Spanish, they're the same language in the way they operate. It's just vocabulary.
yeah. Okay, I was thinking about the question that you asked me, whether it was easier for me to learn a different language, and I think, yeah, when I think about learning sign language, I think it was easier for me than the average person, because I've seen people try to learn sign language alongside me, and they have a hard time understanding that it's not English, that you don't say word for word English, that it has a sentence structure that is very different. Instead of saying I am hungry, you will say hungry I am. It's kind of like opposite. Uh, but it's just the way it's structured, and I think that was like super easy for me to grasp and understand that it wasn't English. But a lot of people have a really hard time with that part, so they use just the vocabulary rather than the sentence structure.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. I read in a novel once, actually, a thing that I read a lot of novels over the course of my life. I'm only up to 50 some this year, but usually in past years I'd go through a lot more. But anyway, I digress. In one novel, an author wrote a person who speaks only one language understands none of them. And I think that's very, very, very true, because you have to be able to understand, like not just see, but understand the differences in language are more than just a one-to-one translation of this word means this, that the words represent concepts, and it's the concepts that get translated. That's why you don't use translators, you use interpreters, you know?
Right? Yeah. That's what we call people who interpret sign language. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of people say translator uh, for spoken languages, but for sign language, we never use that word. My dad speaks so many languages. He speaks Spanish, English, Italian, French, German, and their Swiss dialect.
Yeah, that's impressive. I'm thinking of a person who, again, it's from the same novel. No, it's from a different novel, but a character who spoke English, German, Arabic, Mandarin, and was working on Russian, but he was very bad at it. But he didn't care. He just like hacked away at it with an American accent, and everybody thought it was ridiculous. But nobody called him down for it because he was trying to talk to the Russians, and nobody else was even bothering. All the other English speaking people were just like, they can talk to us in English. They speak English. Fuck it. You know?
Okay, so Miami asked what would be. Oh no, I'm sorry. Helios asked. I wonder what the ASL word would be for horngry.
Uh-huh.
And that's funny because horny and hungry can be misinterpreted. I'm gonna push back a little bit so I can sign it properly. So hungry to eat is like you put your hand like this, and then hungry. Horny is exactly the same shape, same spot, except you go up and down. So hungry,
Okay.
horny. So
I mean, it kind
there's
of
the
makes
lesson.
sense in that they're both very carnal desires, and like, okay, so I'm thinking of like chakras, right? Like your hungriness comes from like the middle area of your body. The horniness is just a little bit further down, but it's still the abdominal region, you know?
Yeah,
Hmm.
like the majority of signs are used above the chest. There's a couple that may be lower, like dog. You go like this, but you put it like around your hip. I can't really think of any others, but all the others are like here because you're speaking to someone and you want to. Yeah, so no matter what it is, you always sign it like right about chest level.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because it's
Yeah.
face-to-face communication.
Yeah,
I
you
mean, it
don't
has
have
to
you don't
be
want to
because
have
you're
to
deaf,
be
you
looking
know?
up and down at someone speaking.
Yeah. And it's there's so many the entirely different methods of communication just wow me with their practical utility. Like sign language, you can communicate silently across a room without other people, especially people who don't speak sign language, knowing what the fuck you're saying. It's fucking cool. But by the same token, spoken language, we take for granted. You don't have to have line of sight. Like I could communicate with a person in another room, I could turn my camera off and you can still hear me because there's no visual component to it, It's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
neat.
It's awesome. Yeah, like the ways we've found to communicate. And yeah, they don't necessarily always have to be verbal. That's why
Yeah.
we look at body language, right? That's why text messaging can often be a little bit difficult because you can't convey your emotions as much as you would if somebody's looking at you and seeing like whether you're standing like this or whether you're standing like this.
Yeah. Ocean Helios says, I dated a deaf girl for a time. She enlightened me on how crude, racist, and vulgar ASL could be. It's a language wielded by humans, of course. Lots of slurs filling the language. It was almost comical, often hidden jokes too. Oh, for sure. And the interlinguistic jokes. Like I worked at a relay for deaf and hard of hearing people, with the teletype thing. They would type to us and we would read it off on a telephone to whoever they were trying to call, that sort of thing. So there were a lot of deaf people who worked there. And so I said to one of my deaf coworkers one day, who is really good at reading lips, I was like, I'm really curious. How do deaf people tell the difference between a laugh and a scream? And he just kind of looks at me and he goes, what's a laugh?
Right,
He was
because
fucking with
they
me,
can't
but still, I'm like,
hear
wait.
the right.
Yeah. Like, oh, it's always screaming. Oh my. Like just trying to think of how the world looks from a person with a different array of senses,
Uh,
It's
they're wondering about different signs now in the chat.
yeah, I see. And Jer saying I learned ASL in a gay bar because
Yes.
Tsumami wants to know how to make certain signs, which
Yeah,
fair.
that one's like this.
Oh goodness. And Equus points out the majority of communication is nonverbal. Interpersonal communication, yes, I will grant you that. Like, when I meet people, I was just saying to Laser Breams, the creator who did the talking to my past self from 4 years ago video from a couple of months back. She was saying how it still pisses her off that when somebody when she doesn't like put any work into her look and she just goes out in public, people will like nod at her. They'll give her the dude nod, and she like just instinctively nods back and then she gets dysphoria over it. And I'm like, when people do that to me, I make it a point of aggressively double hand jazz waving at them, I'm just like, I mean, I love waving anyway, but if somebody waves at me, if they proactively wave first, they get the finger guns.
That's I like. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
we went off on many tangents over here.
It happens. It happens. Oh goodness, I can block people from inside the menu here because I went to go hide the comment and instead I got block user on YouTube, put user in timeout on YouTube. That's pretty handy, but not the button I wanted.
Oh, was there a troublemaker?
No, I was just trying, like, when you click on a comment to show it, you
Oh,
click on the comment
gotcha.
again to make it go away. But I must have clicked on like the 3 little buttons instead
Oh,
of on the
okay.
comment itself, and it just it's a helpful feature, but it's not the thing I wanted. All right, we're really low on time. We can go. I mean, we don't have. It's not like there's another show coming up that I'm sending everybody over to, which does happen on Mondays. Our friend Joe, the Kentucky Atheist, does a show
Oh, yay.
with his partner Laura. They start at 1 p.m. Eastern, so I try to forward over there. But we don't have that today, so we can go a little bit late. But I don't want to
Oh,
go like
yeah.
stupid.
Let's just see a little bit more and see if it's got anything other than the brain adjusts, therefore God.
Yeah. See if there's an argument in here somewhere.
Parts of their brains missing who were really okay, who were really fine. And that didn't fit any of the neuroanatomy textbooks that I read in medical school. There were strange things going on there. The whole thing kind of came to a head when I was operating many years ago on a woman who had a brain tumor in her left frontal lobe. And we do awake brain surgery at times. And what awake brain surgery means is that The patient is given a local anesthetic like Novocaine, so they don't feel pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip this part because, like, yes, you need to be awake for brain surgery so they can tell if they're like damaging your speech center or something. Like, yeah,
I've had those. When I had my nerve stimulator implant, I had to be half awake because I had to tell them whether I felt the sensations when they turned it on and off. It's no fun, but it didn't mean God. No, but he was like, "Well, this wasn't in the textbooks. It was anything that wasn't in the textbooks." So what does that mean? That God?
yeah, like with all
Oh.
things, what's in the textbooks describes what's typical. Obviously, a textbook, it's a teaching tool. It's not going to list every single anomalous possibility we've discovered so far. Like, oh, it drives me crazy.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he's bemused by the oddities and the anomalies and the superpowers of the human brain, and he doesn't like the scientific explanation for how. Therefore, it must be magic, I guess.
Weak
Or
science. I thought it was pretty bad science. I didn't look at it at that point from a religious standpoint. I just thought of all the scientific disciplines I knew, this is the one that I think was the least rigorous. But I have 4 kids, and when my youngest son was born, the first couple months.
Oh, for fuck's sake. We're back to life story mode. So the scientific explanation is the least rigorous. The alternative he's proposing, I will remind you, is magic.
that's a reasonable explanation.
Uh-huh. Holy shit.
And what
To life,
textbook is that on? The Bible.
Uh-huh. Like, my goodness, if you're gonna pick a freaking mythology text to be your source of scientific knowledge, maybe pick one with some scientific knowledge in it. Like, I hear the Hindu scriptures at least have the age of the earth correct, for example.
That would be a start.
Yeah.
He wasn't making eye contact, and he wasn't smiling, and he wasn't behaving as if he understood my wife and I to be people. We were like objects to him. And I became frightened that he was autistic. And autism has always terrified me.
Why frightened? What? Autistic people frighten him? Did he just say that?
As a neurosurgeon, he has a phobia of autistic people.
That is, oh my God, so harmful.
I don't know if I can even wrap my head around this dude's perspective. Like, what?
My kid is autistic. That just makes me sad.
Yeah, I'm a spectrum person. My son is even further along the spectrum than I am. All my kids are
Yeah.
on the spec. Well, okay, my oldest 3. I don't know about the youngest yet. She's still very, very small. But holy crap. Like, what do you mean? I mean, technically, since it's a spectrum, everyone is on it. There's like
Right.
the bell curve of typicality, neurotypicalness. And then there's
Yeah.
people who are past the bell curve, you know? Holy
Like,
crap.
my husband's best friend's daughter, she's about my kid's age, teenagers now, and she's still quite nonverbal. She's always been, but frightening is never an adjective that I would use with her. She's sweet, she's bright, she's funny, she's smart. Like, and she doesn't have to speak to show these things.
Yeah,
This dude is just
it very much relates to what we were talking about earlier about the different way the brain processes different things when it has a different set of sense inputs, you know? It's very similar. Even though the main senses are broadly the same, the way they get processed is slightly different. It's still very poorly understood, but we've been making some progress in understanding how and why autism works. And it seems to be related to mirror neurons, which is a big part of where empathy comes from. That doesn't mean autistic people don't have empathy. We're often some of the most empathetic people, Like, we'll see a story like Dave's last night when on Captive Desk, when he was talking about how the ICU nurses were like there with him and pulling for him and whatnot. And I was moved by that. It's not like we
Yeah.
don't have empathy. It's just we pick up on a different set of social cues and we interpret the data in a different way. Our processing is wired slightly differently.
My
And
my 14-year-old gives me a kiss every time I give them lunch or breakfast and dinner. All of them, every single time.
hell yeah. Yeah, I remember one time when I was very small, my mother, before she started working overnight, she would put my brother and I on the bus. And one morning she'd said something that pissed me off and I was mad at her, so I wouldn't give her a kiss goodbye. And as soon as I got on the bus, I felt intense sadness about like the possibility that the bus would get into a wreck and I'd never see her again. That wasn't what upset me. It was that I had withheld a kiss on that last time I would have ever seen her.
Aw, that's sweet.
Like, oh, so I mean, so that's a lot of the procedural thinking, is to avoid regret. Oh, goodness.
Have a child who you love and want to connect with, and they don't even know you exist. You're just like a piece of furniture to them. So I was
That's not how autism works. People are not.
Oh my!
It-
Oh, that's.
Oh, good. Yeah. Like, no, other people are not like furniture. He's thinking of something else entirely,
Their brains, just like you were saying earlier, their brains perceive the world differently. Um, our brains don't have the capacity to interpret all of the information stimuli that's coming in at the same time, right? Because it can be noise and lights and the wind and things that we're feeling in our body and pain and I don't know, somebody talking to us and then we are listening to something at the same time. So it's a lot. So it processes, it prioritizes whatever they think is more important to at that moment. And that's why a term that I learned from Richard Gilliver, pareidolia happens, right? Like we
Yeah.
may see something that we are not fully paying attention to, and we may see it as something completely different. Um,
Mhm.
but people
Like,
who are autistic in, often get overwhelmed and have meltdowns because they are overstimulated, because their brain is receiving all of the things that the average brain blocks out. They're receiving all of them at the same
mhm.
time, so it can be freaking overwhelming, and they can't always focus on the person that's speaking to them, and so they may be looking at something completely different that is like their brain is perceiving as more important or as more of a threat or more interesting. It doesn't mean that they don't love you or that they don't value you or they don't know you're there. That's
Right,
just
and that's a
wild.
fantastic example because I have experiences with both ends of things. Like, because my brain tries to process everything at the same time, I'm capable of having 6 conversations simultaneously. I've tested it at, like, restaurants and shit, But at the same time, I will be talking to a single person, one-to-one, nothing else going on, and I will still say, "What?" after every single sentence, and then answer whatever it was they said. Like, I say, "What?" because it's still processing, and then it'll finish processing, and I'll respond, and I've had people tell me that's frustrating as hell, because they'll be like, "Why do you ask me to repeat myself and then answer me before I have the chance to do so?"
My kid and I both do that. Yeah, I didn't realize it would be from that. Like, my kid will be like, I'll be speaking, and then they'll just sit there, kind of like they didn't hear what I said, and I will be like, "Did you hear that?" And then there's another silence, and then they'll answer, like they heard it the first time. It
Yeah,
just took a little bit to process.
exactly. I've had to train myself, like, all the social cue responses that I have, they're all trained. None of them come naturally to me. I've had to manually correct my own behavior, kind of thing, to seem more neurotypical. And I do that with
Masculine.
conversation too. I will like hyper focus on what a person is saying. until I get the gist of what they're saying. And then I have a predictive text algorithm sort of thing running in my brain so I can have a response prepared for when they finish speaking. So I don't
My
have
brain
to
does
keep
that.
them waiting while I process.
I
But
do
then
that so
sometimes I get
much.
saved. Yeah. Or other times when that just doesn't work out, I've trained myself to stop saying what, like to just let there be a pause, like
Mhm.
people will wait a second or two. They might get frustrated by the pause, but saying what just confuses them.
Wait. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. So, yes, our doctor friend, a neurosurgeon who doesn't know what autism is and hates it. Awesome.
Mhm. Fears it. Fears it. He's
Yes.
frightened by it.
So, proof of God from this. This should be fun.
Quite frightened of it. We took him to some neurologists, and they said it's too young. He's just a few months old. You really can't be sure.
Wait,
So
what?
by the time he was about
He determined from 2 months old? I thought this was like a toddler.
Yeah, he was saying his son was very, very small. Now, again, he's partially correct. Normally, an autism diagnosis happens sometime around 18 months. You can start to see signs around 6 months, but they're by no means definitive because everybody develops at a different rate. But generally, you won't get a diagnosis until 2 years to 3 years-ish, and sometimes later than that. So trying to do this at like before he's even 6 months old.
Yeah, that's a little extreme.
Phobia, I
The
guess. It drives you
eye
to crazy
contact,
things.
the eye contact thing, like 2 months. Come on.
Yeah, this is like saying, "Oh, my child was born with red hair, so I'm terrified they don't have a soul." Like, dude, that's not scientific, and also, what the fuck? You know?
6 months
Yeah.
old, but he still wasn't making eye contact, wasn't really interacting with us. And I was seeing a consult, a patient at an outside hospital. It was a Catholic hospital.
Oh,
And
good.
Oh,
I was at a
Catholic
point where I was
hospital.
emotionally really, really distraught by this. I was thinking, I'm never going to love my son. I'm never going to have my
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why can't you love your son? Like, regardless of what you think about autism, why can't you? This is like the Christian saying, "Oh, my child turned out to be gay, so my love just turned off. I can't love my son because they are a gay person." The fuck do you mean? That's a you problem, buddy. Maybe he should have himself tested for this weird psychopathic antisocial misanthropic bullshit that he's pretending is autism.
son love me. He's never going to know me.
Mm.
So after I saw the consult, it was late at night. There was a chapel in the hospital, so I stopped by the chapel.
Richard says, "I've just told my wife, an educational psychologist who teaches nonverbal autistic people, what he just said. And she actually told me to F off because she thought I was joking."
Yeah, that's just wild. Come on. I don't understand what his fear is and how he sees it in such a negative light. Like, my child is never gonna love me. He's gonna think I'm a piece of furniture. Why? That is such a stereotypical thing to say.
Yeah, even
But
if
you
that
wouldn't
were
expect it
true,
from, yeah.
so what? You know? Holy crap.
And I went into the chapel and I got down in front of the altar and prayed. And I said,
Oh, that's why the story has to be at a Catholic hospital. So there'd be a chapel there so he could go pray. Even though he's an atheist and he doesn't believe in any of this, he's going to go pray anyway, because of course he does.
God, I don't know if you exist. I don't make praying a habit. But if you do exist, could you take this away from me, please? This is something I can't deal with.
And so God killed his son.
Right.
Like, that's how Yahweh operates, right? Like, oh, you don't want your child? Boom, dead. Problem solved.
I'll solve this for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me
Can't help
guess.
myself.
His child is gonna be miraculously cured or not have that diagnosis because he was fucking 6 months old.
Uh-huh. Like, I can't even prove this is actually a miracle because it was a thing that I was desperately afraid of but had no reason to actually suspect. Holy shit.
Be autistic and not know me. And I heard a voice, only time in my life I've ever heard a voice, and it was very clear. And it
Hearing voices. Not a great sign, buddy. As a
Yeah.
neurologist, you should know this.
wasn't
Right.
me saying it. And the voice said, "But that's what you're doing to me."
Whew.
So
Sean offering the deep thoughts. The voice comes back, his own voice he's hearing in his head says, "Oh, I can't stand to have my son not know me." And the voice says, "That's what you're doing to me." And Sean's like, oof. Like this whole freaking thing, that's Sean's contribution. Oof.
Okay, that right there is the case of someone who's going through an extremely stressful situation, or like what he perceives to be a very stressful situation, because obviously he has this unwarranted fear of autistic people. So he's freaking out about his kid being this monster that he's made autistic people to be in his mind. And so the hearing voices thing, I've had that happen to me. You know, I'm deaf, right? So when my
Every day,
father-in-law passed away, after the funeral, we walked into his house and I clearly heard his voice, him telling me, you know, a sentence that he will always say when we will walk into the house, like something like, hey, like in his accent, in his voice, everything. It was like, hey, how y'all doing? Or something like that. It was a very short thing, but it was
What's up,
his
Vince?
voice.
How y'all
And yeah. So for years after this, I was not religious yet, but I did believe in ghosts.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain that, but
Spiritualism is a separate thing. But yeah.
but so for years I put this as his spirit spoke to me, uh, but now knowing the way the brain works, I know that first of all, I was deaf. I couldn't have heard him that clearly unless he was like right next to me, which was usually the case when he will say, you know, I will be coming to give him a hug or something, and he will say that. But second of all, we had just gone to his funeral. So obviously we were all very saddened and stressed, and you know, like all of these chemicals that come with that can create the illusion or the hallucination, because hallucinations don't have to be visual, they can be oral.
Mm-hmm.
And the hallucination, or your brain can bring forth a memory that you hear as if it was happening right there. But I think because at that time I didn't use voice a lot, and like my brain didn't use voice a lot, so I was like, oh, okay, it must be that voice, and not that it's, you know, a pre-recorded voice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can easily explain what he heard as his own, more than likely his own voice. Maybe it didn't sound like him. Maybe it sounded like somebody else, but like his conscience speaking to him and be like, I don't know, like guilt. I guess it could be some type of guilt. Maybe his family was, I don't know, religious. No, he said that his family wasn't super religious, but he didn't say atheist necessarily. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Richard says, you know, emotional trauma, then ignore all the science and suddenly believe in God. Cognitive dissonance. Yeah, completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going through a traumatic thing like that, yeah, it's very easily for your brain to trick itself, and especially in such a vulnerable spot, which is exactly what happened to me, my with my pregnancy. Right, I was in a vulnerable spot, thinking my kid is gonna be sick, potentially die at birth. What do I have left but to trust the people around me and go towards the light of God?
Yeah, there's a big environmental pressure for that kind of thing too. I'm also Equus said this guy's a complete POS, in my opinion. He shouldn't have become a father if he couldn't deal with his own children. And yeah, yes, when you make a decision to do a thing, you must accept all the possible outcomes of that thing. Understand that some are more likely than others. But if you're going to have a child, you have to accept the possibility you may have a gay child. You can't turn around later and be like, oh, I can't love you because you're gay.
Don't
Or
accept you.
you
Yeah.
have to accept the possibility you may have a disabled child or an autistic child, which is not, yes, I know legally it's a disability because we have to classify things in our society, but it really is a typific of that differently abled because my son has some capabilities that I can't come close to. I mean, hell, all my children do. My oldest is a biochemical scientist. Like they understand chemistry in ways that I've never come close to, and they intuitively, like,
Yeah, chemistry for me. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
chemistry for me
it's a lot
always
of
went
things.
over my head.
Yeah. And the point is there's pluses and minuses to everything, and it's all situationally dependent. When you get into a relationship, nobody, a reasonable adult anyway, doesn't get into a relationship saying, okay, this is definitely going to end in marriage. We
Mhm.
all have an understanding there's a very high probability there's going to be a breakup. You have to accept that when you make the
It could
decision
happen.
to
Yeah.
get into the thing. And you should do that with children too. It drives me fucking batty. So this dude, he's petrified of autistic people. I'm gonna take him the fuck off the screen because fuck this guy.
Thank
Um,
you.
he's
It's
petrified of autistic
terrible.
people. He's afraid his son is gonna be autistic. He doesn't understand what autism even is. Talks
Therefore,
to
God.
himself in a fucking chapel, and then his son turns out to not be autistic. Therefore, it's a miracle, and God is good because he asked and so took the tism from the child, like banishing a demon or some. Holy shit,
But
this is so
seriously,
horrible.
it drives me insane that he's saying that this started at 2 months old and then this happened at 6 months old. Like, no, you can't expect a 6 month old to like keep that type of connection that you would expect from an older child. Like, there is a developmental stages. And yeah, sure, at 6 months you expect a certain um type of interaction from the child, looking at you and things like that. But it doesn't really mean much to say that he wasn't behaving a certain way right away. They never got to the speaking stage of the child, so you never know whether they were, verbal or not, whether they could communicate what they were
Mhm.
feeling. It's just, oh God, I don't know. That
Yeah.
just made me
The
so
the
mad.
verbal issue the verbal issue is a hard one, I mean, that's how we figured out my son was much further along the spectrum than me because he started to pick up language and then he stopped. He went nonverbal. And we went through a sign language program to,
I love that.
teach him ways to communicate. The problem wasn't that he wasn't able to learn language. It's that he didn't see any use in it. He started learning language by mimicking adults, the same as all children do, but he didn't see any point. It was only after we were able to show him there's utility in like being able to ask for his own juice, for example. Oh, if I ask for juice, I can have juice. He started picking it up like no problem. But we had to bridge that gap of helping him understand there actually was a value to it. That was the break
Right,
in
and that's the way that they interpret the
Mhm.
world differently than the average person does. So yeah, you
Yeah.
just have to understand it from their perspective, not from yours.
Right. And that's a great lesson for all of us to understand all these divides that need bridging in our understanding of how other people think and feel is we have to be able to put ourselves in their shoes, to borrow from the Bible. We have to be able to see from their position, not just our own. And that's that's a much better lesson than our neuroscience Fred was going to be giving us. So let's we're way over time, so we're going to wrap up there. First, Lil of all trades sends a $2
Oh
super
yay!
chat. Thank you so much. And says to keeping you around. Love you, Ember and AJ. Thank you, Lil.
Thank you.
Yay. And I'll real quick recap the other super chats we've had today because I do like to thank people for sending those. They help me
course.
keep the lights on and keep food in the refrigerator, so I very much appreciate them. So we had $2 from Fern Love Bond, who says, can't stay, but a little De Niro for two of my faves. Live long and prosper. Fern symbol, green heart. Yay, Fern is awesome. 20 from Left-Handed Jedi. Thank you so much, Jedi, who says, keep Ember alive. And that is a proposition that I hope we all can get behind. I mean, y'all are here. $4.99 from Kelly King, the atheist queen of Detroit, who says, did y'all miss me today? Of course we did, Kelly. And we were looking forward to you dropping back in when you feel like it. And Little of All Trades, who just sent $2 and said, to keeping you around. Love ya, Ember and AJ.
Yay.
So yay. Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Once again, if you're new, do hit the subscribe button. We're live with a different array of hosts from time to time, but we're Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Convert to your own local currency as you will. But every Monday through Friday. I also do other stuff. I'm on a bunch of different channels. All my links are on betterthanember.com. I could go on for a while, but I'll keep this one short. What are you up to, AJ?
I'm still doing all my waste to human stuff. I just actually got a copy of the video that they recorded at NanoCon like a month ago, and where I did the panel with Sydney Davis, Chad Harris, and Jasper Hoffman, which is really cool about people living high control religions or cults. And so my copy was terrible and the sound was horrible, so I never uploaded it. I was just gonna wait for their copy, and I just got it, so I'm gonna upload it probably today. So that's exciting. And I'm going to be back on here for sure on Monday and Thursday because I love those topics. And I'll try to pop in others if I can mentally prepare myself. I've just had a very stressful month. So yeah, I'm trying to get some rest where I can. My sleep is terrible. I sometimes just don't sleep at night. So and since this happens in the morning, I have to like make sure that I do the things to get some rest before. But I'll do my best to make it. So that's what I'm up to. PC.
Hell yeah. Thanks to Pragmatic Crystal for dropping
sign language, PC.
is the divine being of all the links. So thank
right, yeah. The savior of the links.
Yeah. And we appreciate all of you folks. You are the reason we do lives instead of pre-recording these things, because I love to interact with people. I love your insights, your jokes, your humor, all the things. It's building a community, ultimately. Every individual episode, we may or may not make a profound discovery, but having that community, I think that matters more than any specific thing we might cover. And so I appreciate y'all being part of it. And on that note, I'm going to do the outro thing where I say thank you to the patrons and top level members, because that's one of their perks. And there's a bunch, and I appreciate it. So as always, remember, you don't have to be afraid of people who are different, and pray for God to take them away from you, because you are better than religion. Laters. Thanks to the top level members and Patreon supporters for August: Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Maya Adkisson, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Kalasia, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, The Mighty Filbert, Hunter Biden's Laptops, Larkwright, Greg S., Neurogeezer, Mage Greywolf, Faran Salas, Poor Claire, BTF Wayne, Cosmic Kyle, Bomb Poppy, RDZ, Billy Bongsalot, Marty Cameo, My Unfinished Sock, Austin Sims, Tinker Phil, Anarchic Fox, Sabrina Page, Leslie Hutchings, Gazela Mail, Evil Toe, Right-Handed Sith, Luke, D. Murphy, Jesse, Uncle Charlie, Ryan Cultastic, Kurisu Yamato, Scott Duke, Michael Bell, Sumami, Citizen 9, S. Cook, James Nordoff, Hecklek, Velvet, KCA Randy, B.S. Lewis, Tori Swansiger, Whimsy, Kristen Slays, Godless Engineer, Fern Lovebond, Hillhugger, Karen Butcher, Milwaukee Atheists, Booba Sweat, Maya Adkisson, My Unfinished Studio, Ian Chen Official, Introvert Ancom, Tilting Windmill, Christopher Tablante, Robin Webster, Proby666, Jason T, Action Squad, Robert Madewell, Doc Don Hogg, Jester, Sydney Raptor, Stardust Lilith, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Jake, insert clever dapper inside joke here, Nelson, Supercritical Snake, Eli Slack, Geo Sam, Kalasia789, L Trucker, You Are Victoria, Polly Has His Cracker, Roman Weber, Leo Filius, Nikki Pare, Jasper, Yahooligan, and Pinworm. Thank you all so much. I feel energized and grateful that you're part of this community. Thank you.
Just like a spark that's breaking out, can't make a stop.